So today we're going to talk about some different ways of stacking and acquiring gold. Now there are some perhaps stricter definitions of stacking, people who will buy like the lowest premium gold that they can get hold of, whereas some people who are buying things like, for example, the shield sovereigns, people might class them more as collectors, and there's probably a bit of a hazy line in the middle there. But today we're going to talk about some of the strategies and the pros and cons. So the first strategy, the obvious one that I kind of came across when I first started buying any gold, was to buy the lowest premium gold that you can. So buying the best price gold and stacking that because you were paying closer to the spot price. So it's not a bad option. Certain bits of gold, certain items do carry premiums over others. And when you come to buy, if you're looking around on a dealer's website, you will find that that is the case. There are different prices for different coins. So for example, a best value bullion sovereign might be a few percent over spot, and something like choosing the date on a nice shield or buying perhaps some pre-33 gold or something like that, you're going to be paying quite a premium for. So most of my stack is best value type bullion. I've paid around about the best value price for it at the time. Some coins have paid obviously a bit more premium. Some have paid very good prices at the time. They've just been really good deals. And so overall my stack is relatively low premium, but there are certainly some collector-y type pieces getting in there and sneaking in. A lot of that's come with doing the date run. So whilst doing a date run and collecting a certain series or something like that, is a strategy. It's probably not the most efficient strategy, if that makes sense. So buying low premium, stacking what you can in terms of your area at the best price is a good option. So for us in the UK, sovereigns are popular. Britannias are also, but I don't think that you tend to get the same premiums. You do tend to pay more in premium for the likes of a Britannia. So people often ask whether a quarter ounce of gold in a Britannia form is better than the 0.2354 ounce in a sovereign. The sovereign will cost less, but it does have a tiny bit less gold, but also the premium is smaller normally. So there will be times when you might get a certain deal, or perhaps on the second-hand market where that won't be the case. But typically, you are paying less for the sovereigns, for the gold content, because when you're buying, you're normally buying for the gold content, and some do have premiums like the shields, for example, that I mentioned. So if you're buying Britannias, generally the 1 ounce are going to be a lower premium than quarter ounce. Half ounce is a bit of a funny size. I'm not sure what's going with the light in here today. But anyway, the half ounce size is a bit of a funny size. It doesn't tend to be much lower premium than a quarter ounce. It's often got a bit of premium, but it is also a bigger size as well. So people like the fractional sizes, think it'll be easier to sell and things like that. If you look at dealer sell prices, somewhere like Atkinson's, for example, or any of the main dealers of choice, some of them are paying a little bit more in terms of premium back for the sovereigns as well than they are for other coins. So, for example, if you were selling a bullion gold sovereign, you might actually get 1% over spot at the moment, whereas if you were selling something like a Britannia 1 ounce, they might be selling at 1% under. But you are paying a lower premium for those bigger coins like the 1 ounce Britannias, and especially on the second hand market. So there's definitely some options there to consider. I think that for people starting out, the best bet is to probably just buy the lowest premium bullion in your area. So probably sovereigns or maybe Britannias. If you're in the UK, maybe it is something like an eagle in the US. Maybe that is the popular coin, but maybe it's not the lowest premium. So have a look at what the dealers are buying back for. Some will perhaps pay a premium for the eagles. Some will perhaps pay a premium for other coins. So whilst you might get a sovereign in the US or somewhere like that at a low premium, you might also sell it back for a low premium. But you want to have a look at the spread, so the difference between the buy price and the sell price. And they do change. There are times when I've seen dealers offering a few percent more and a few percent less. And I guess in the future, we could see a time where perhaps a certain coin is, less popular than others, and for that reason, people are buying them for less or offering less. So something like the Krugerrand, for example, it is still, the ounce of gold, but it just tends to attract a lower premium. It is designed as a low premium bullion coin, and so for that reason, people do just pay a bit less. So whilst you, will get it cheaper, you'll probably sell it a little bit cheaper as well. But yeah, when you look at the premium coins like perhaps a Queen's Beast that's for sale at the moment, you're going to be looking at a few £100s in premium from dealers, and you're just not going to get that back when you go back to a dealer. You're going to get a round spot just over maybe a few percent, but not the sort of 10 or 20 that you'd have to buy it for. So in terms of the strategy, keeping to low premium and popular bullion in your area should give you an easier time. If you are interested in selling on the second-hand market, in your area, perhaps peer-to-peer, then there might be a range of different options for that. You just have to consider how you're going to go about it. It does take a bit of effort, and you might have to build up some sort of reputation or some feedback or something like that to get yourself going. It's not perhaps super straightforward, and then you obviously have to just be wary of dealing with, other parties. Obviously that third-party trust thing. So there are obviously dealers that have got reputations to look after, and so you're unlikely to get anything malicious happening there. But you never know. You just got to be careful. So another option would be to buy higher premium coins that are certainly desirable for collectors. You could try buying the latest releases and trying to predict which ones will be the popular coins coming through. If you are looking at the proof sovereigns at the moment, for example, and thinking, well, oh yeah, that's a low mintage version and it's a special design, people are going to be into that and wanting to stack them. So it is something to consider. There are definitely a couple of different ways to do that and go about stacking and, pick up gold in general. Another one that doesn't perhaps get much traction in the stacking community is buying scrap gold or scrap silver. So when we talk about that, we might mean items like flatware, silver spoon, silver plate, silver things like that, or gold jewellery. If you're buying broken jewellery, then you might find it's hallmarked, which is a good guarantee of purity. Obviously, you can test it further as well. But if you're buying it scrap as well, you're often dealing with very low premiums. On the other hand, though, you are going to be looking at low premium on the way out. So it's always something to consider there. The scrap prices, do tend to be quite low. And if you're dealing with something like 9 carat or something like that, 18 carat, remember the purity to consider as well when you're working out the price. So it is an option, and people do like to, buy things like that. And perhaps in the future, if there was more scrutiny on bullion transactions, as the world clamps down on, these malicious people that are buying gold to hide from governments and taxes and things like that. Apparently that's what they're all doing. Obviously not here, but, that's what the sort of media tend to spin. So if you are, thinking that's going to get worse, perhaps in the future bullion transactions might end up being more heavily scrutinised and taxed and things like that. Well, if that were the case, maybe jewellery would get away. It's only broken jewellery. Innocent old ladies selling broken earring, for example. So it could be an option, something to consider. And there could be rule changes on bullion coins. So, for example, we have nice sovereigns here. Some sovereigns built up before, I think it's 1838. It might be before 1837, but if you want to check up on that, if that's going to likely affect you. The bullion coins, the bullion sovereigns before then have been demonetised. So I think it is prior to 1837. And for that reason, they wouldn't perhaps fall under the capital gains exemptions. You never know. Perhaps one day they'll come along and say, right, everything before 1960 or 19 whatever could be changed. They could change the rules. So certainly worth considering. And for that reason, you might want to stack a variety of coins. Or maybe you just don't really care, you just like the nice shiny stuff and you're on a bit of a mission to build up a nice collection. So I hope you enjoyed the video, let me know if I missed any, and we'll talk soon.